Hello, and welcome to Tom's Family Worship. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today I've got a special guest, my friend Dick Duerksen. He is a writer, he is a hiker, he is a photographer, he's been a pastor. He's if you can think of something, he's probably done it.
It's not quite that perfect, but yeah.
Well, he's got a story for us today. So I'm Tom Gearing, and this is Tom's Family Worship. Hello, everyone, and hello, Dick. Thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Tom.
What is your story about today?
Well, I want to take you to Glacier National Park in Montana. And I'm on a Yamaha 1200 XS Special. That's a big monster motorcycle. And behind me, sitting on that special seat, is my 8-year-old son, Jeremy. Both of us have big helmets on, and we're ready for, we're already many, many miles into a wild trip. We started in Portland, Oregon, and we're on our way to Vail, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And we have just gone over the biggest highway in Glacier. It goes clear up over the top. We've seen mountain goats and bighorn sheep. We've had a wonderful day. And our assignment, agreed to by Mom, is that Jeremy and I are to camp tonight at Two Medicine Lake, which is on the eastern side of Glacier National Park. So we have just come down out of the mountains. We've come to St. Mary's, a little tiny town on the far eastern side. We filled the tank. We made sure that everything's fine on the bike. We've gotten our snacks for the last few miles, and we're getting ready to take that last part all the way down to Medicine. We get out on the highway. Speed limit in Montana in those days was anything you can do. So I was going about 75 miles an hour, almost 80, down this straight 2-lane highway, beautiful road, beautiful day. And all of a sudden, I heard something go crack. And I didn't know whether it was somewhere on the bike. That's all I knew. Something had broken, but I didn't know what it was or where it was. I could feel Jeremy's arms grasp around my chest because he'd heard the crack too. I didn't know what it was, but for some reason, I just leaned to the right on the bike. It just felt right. And then I slowly pulled off, not onto the right-hand side of the road, but for some reason, the angels told me to go to the left-hand side of the road. So I pulled off. There weren't any other vehicles anywhere on the road. And I went way over and finally was able to slowly slow down. And for some reason, I chose to just use the rear brake, not to use the front at all. Just barely tapped, used the rear brake, and I pulled over, slowed way down, and stopped. And when I stopped, I said, Jeremy, I want you to slide off, and then I'm going to put this thing up on the pegs, and let's see what we've got. So Jeremy slid off. I put it up on the pegs, got off. And on my motorcycle, the brakes for the front wheel are a big steel caliper. It kind of grabbed both sides of the spinning brake. And that had broken in half at the top.
Wow.
And the half that was on the right-hand side was dangling. If I had, when I heard the snap, for some reason the angel said, lean right. And so I had leaned right, and in that process, I didn't even know, I couldn't see what was happening. I'm going at 75 miles an hour. I can't see what's going on. And that caliper, the broken piece, had hung off to the right. If I had leaned left, that caliper would have gone right into the mag wheel, and we would have gone catapulting head over heels over something or other, and the cops would have called Mom. Well, Jeremy said, you got a bungee cord? I said, I think I do. And so we pulled out the bungee cords and we managed to bungee it all back up again so that we didn't have a front brake anymore, but we had a back brake and it wasn't going to fall into the wheel.
Right, you got out of the way.
So for a whole lot slower, all the way down to Two Medicine Lake, we set up our tent and Jeremy said, now we got to call Mom. Mom was terrified that the two of us were going to die out somewhere on the road anyway. And so now tonight we've got to call her and tell her that we just had almost a terrible death-defying. This was not going to be a good call. There was one payphone. You remember what a payphone is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of a telephone with a funny, it's got a dial. And it was way back at the ranger station. And there was nobody there.
So this is before cell phones, right?
Oh, before everything.
So you put a quarter in the payphone, and then you can dial your number, right?
But we didn't have a quarter. And our agreement was that we always called Mom every night. But we usually, we did it from a motel, or we did it from a friend's house. And, there's no friend's house. There's no anything. And I looked at Jeremy and I said, we can't call Mom. We don't have any money. We don't have a quarter to dial this crazy payphone. And he said, sure we do. And he walked over, and those old payphones, the old AT&T monsters, there was a coin return slot at the bottom where if you paid, somehow you got some money back. Jeremy pulled that little lever down, reached in, and took out a quarter.
Oh, my goodness.
And he said, the angels left us a quarter so Mom wouldn't worry.
Oh, wow.
That's one of my high points in life. And Jeremy dropped the quarter in, dialed the number, and we told Mom we were fine at Two Medicine Lake, and we had a small problem with the bike, but we're going to get it fixed tomorrow down in Colorado, no problem. And everybody was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he hung it up, the payphone jiggled, dinged a little bit, and that quarter that he had put in to make the phone call dropped back down through the telephone into the coin return slot.
Oh, my word.
Ready for the next person to have another God miracle.
That's awesome.
Isn't that a fun story?
It is. And not only did God protect you from this catastrophic wreck, right, that could have easily killed both of you.
True.
But he's even thinking of Brenda and her worrying about you, and he's giving you just that gift of being able to call her as well.
Which is really awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good moment in our lives. It just reminds me, Tom, that I'm never alone. He's always with me. He's always eager to help me make the best possible decision and help other people know him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, friends at home, I'm wondering if you have any stories where you have seen God provide for you. Maybe that's something you can share together in your family. But if you'd like to share it with me, I'd love to hear it as well. You can reach out to me on social media or email me at pastortomgearing@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. Dick, would you have a closing prayer for us?
Oh, Lord, thank you so much for the many ways that you take care of us. You protect us, you love us, and you help us to always make sure we tell the best stories about you. Amen.
Amen. Well, this is Tom's Family Worship. I'm so glad you're here today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.